Welcome to hour number 2 today of Blue Collar Sports. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, if you're tuning in through Twitter, Radio FX, however you're listening, we appreciate it. You guys are what make us keep going. We love it. We love talking sports. We are a really national sports talk. Love talking any sport. You know, today we've already covered golf, basketball, baseball, which we'll get to in a little bit, and of course football. So a lot of sports. I'm your co-host, Seth Newville, joined here with co-host Trevor Brennan. We go from 2 to 4 every Tuesday, Thursday, down here in the Pulse Radio studio at Boise State University. And it is just after 3 o'clock, so we are in the middle now of at the start of our second hour, in the middle of our show today. It's been a great show so far.
It's been fantastic. Our 99th show. It's been a great one. Make sure to tune in on Thursday. It's our 100th show. We're going to have a lot of surprises for you, stuff we've never done before. And it's really gonna be a great time, and we really appreciate it if you guys tune into that one. But we're making today a great one. Also, we talked a little bit about Kyler Murray, his situation. We talked golf, and we talked NBA. We're staying in the NBA right now for segments 4 and 5. We got a little game we've done before. It's called a true or false game, and we're doing NBA true or false questions. So I got 10 questions. Seth has 10 questions. I'm going to start it out with asking these 10 questions to Seth. He's got to answer with either a true or a false. And then after that, we'll recap them all, go over it, and then Seth will take his 10 questions and ask me these true or false questions. So that's how the game works. You'll see it as we go. We've done it before, but we both have 10 great NBA questions. And are you ready to get to it?
Yeah, I'm ready. We've done this game before, and we've done it a couple times with a couple different sports, but it keeps coming around because we love it so much, and it opens up a lot of interesting discussions. So I'm ready to get to it.
All right, my number one question is the Western Conference still better than the Eastern Conference?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I guess as a whole, as the 8 teams in the playoffs.
I'm gonna say false.
Oh, really? Interesting. We'll come back to that one.
Talk about that one.
Is Paul George is the MVP frontrunner? True or false?
False.
False. Not number one right now. The Lakers will make the playoffs. Had to throw it in there.
I'm gonna say true.
Good.
I would love for it to be false, but
No.
I'm gonna say true.
It's true. You know the answer. The Denver Nuggets will finish with the 2nd seed in the Western Conference.
I'm gonna say false. I'm gonna talk about that one
a little bit
when we get to it.
The Milwaukee Bucks will finish with the NBA's best record.
Oh, that's a good one. Because the Warriors really don't care about record.
No.
I think it's between them and the Raptors, to be honest. And, of course, the Warriors will always be in there, but I think they're going to rest people. I'm going to say false, though.
False. They will not have the NBA best record. A team in the Eastern Conference can actually win the NBA Finals.
I'm going to say false.
False. No team in the Eastern Conference. Dang. The New York Knicks will finish with the NBA's worst record.
They've lost 17 in a row. That's something we did not discuss earlier. But they have lost 17 in a row. They lost to the Cavaliers last night.
That's a bad loss.
Kind of a battle for Zion, maybe. Cavaliers, speaking of now, have the 3rd worst record. Suns have the 2nd worst. New York has the worst. They're all within 2 games of each other, though. I'm going to say true.
Me too. They're all in for Zion. He wants to be in New York.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'm going to change this question up a little bit, but the total points in the All-Star game will reach over 300.
Ooh.
You gave your score a little bit ago.
I said about 160, 150 range. I am going to say, I do think it's more competitive now because of the you win money now. So I think there will be a little bit more defense, but I still think they'll be slightly over 300. I'm going to go true.
True. At least one new All-Star will be on the Los Angeles Lakers roster next year. Had to throw that one in there, of course.
One of the All-Stars from this season?
Any season, a past All-Star. But that's still an All-Star. That should be not like a Rondo or someone who
right.
Not Derrick Rose, okay?
Kyle Korver.
Yeah, no.
Kyrie Irving, I don't think he will be. Kawhi, I don't think will be.
Kawhi, there's Jimmy. They could still make a trade for AD.
I think there's 2 possible considerations here, and that's Anthony Davis or Klay Thompson.
Klay's a great option there.
But I'm going to say false.
No new
Magic
All-Star.
Strikes out again, ends the inning.
That'd be rough, but that's not what's going to happen. We'll get to that. We'll see that in the summer. I guess we're going to change this one up. We kind of talked about it, but could any team in the NBA beat the Warriors in the finals?
Yeah, I don't see it happen. I think Warriors There's no team right now for me that I could say confidently that they could beat the Warriors 4 times in 7 games. I'm gonna say there's no team. I'm gonna say true.
Is there? Let's hear a second team that has an actual shot. Maybe not an actual shot, but what would be the closest shot to him?
As much as I hate to say it, come playoff time, you can never count out LeBron with anything, but I don't think he has a shot. Western Conference, and this is what I want to talk about earlier, but I really see in the Western Conference, this is why also, going to your first question, why I think the East is better than the West now. There's one team for me in the Western Conference that has a shot with the Warriors. There's 4 teams in the Eastern Conference I think could give them a run. I'm not saying I would ever bet on them to beat the Warriors. That's why I answered that they wouldn't. I never ever think they have a shot to beat them. But there's only one team in the Western Conference. I think there's 4 in the Eastern Conference, but that team's the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm not trying to buy into the Thunder right now, but it's hard not to. Paul George is playing at a level we've never seen him play at before right now. He's playing at MVP caliber level. He was awesome in Indiana. I thought that was the best Paul George was ever going to be. He's better right now. I think they're starting to understand a shift now where it is Paul George's team. Westbrook's not taking as many shots. He's still getting triple-doubles, but they're 16, 18-point triple-doubles. They're not 30-point-plus triple-doubles. That's when he becomes ineffective. Paul George is the leader. Looking at the Thunder's roster, they have stars to play with them. They got Westbrook. They got Paul George. Steven Adams is the type of big, physical, rim-protecting center that the Warriors have struggled with. Dennis Schroeder now off the bench gives them a great 6-man to come in and play. Jeremiah Grant is a big physical defender who could guard Kevin Durant. I'm not saying he's going to do a great job of it, but he's physical enough, he's lanky enough to keep up with Kevin Durant. So I would still like the Warriors, but I do think the Thunder would give them a good run. And, of course, we know the bad blood. Westbrook would go all out. He's going to give you everything every single night. They would be playing with more of an attitude. But then you look at the Eastern Conference, I do think the Raptors match up best with the Warriors, to be honest. Just because that experience. Kawhi Leonard, he's been to 3 NBA finals. 2 or 3, one of those, but he's finals MVP. He's been there before. Danny Green has played really well in the finals, and he's a good defender. So they got experience. Serge Ibaka played in the finals with the Thunder. These guys have experience. Boston, I still need to see them flip the switch, and until then, I think in the East, I think Toronto matches up best with them.
Very interesting. Yeah, you said false that the West is still better than the East is because there's a 4-team race possibly in the Eastern Conference when there's only one team in the West that is right behind the Warriors. And then let's talk about Paul George a little bit. You said false that he is an MVP front runner. He's playing like one of the top players in the league right now. But probably Giannis might be your front runner. You talked about that a little bit. But for Paul George, he's playing like this, that the best he's ever played because he's comfortable. He knows he's got that contract. He's not looking for his spot anymore. But just imagine if this was over in LA, if he was taken over with this team, he would actually have a legit shot to beat the Warriors when he does it right now with Oklahoma
He would not
City
be playing like this if he was on the Lakers.
He'd still be playing pretty well. LeBron's a little bit better distributor than Russell Westbrook, I'd say.
But when you watch the Lakers, LeBron has the ball for 20. I'm not just saying this because I don't like LeBron. I know
Westbrook's got the ball all the time.
I'm going to start losing grip. But that's why I think the Thunder are starting to make this switch because Westbrook is starting to understand. When you watch him, he's starting to give the ball to Paul George early. He's not trying to dictate everything. And that's why I think I'm starting to buy into the Warriors. Come playoff time, when the game's on the line, I don't know if I trust Russell Westbrook. Yeah, I think he's such a fiery competitor. He's got such a switch. He's got that Kobe Bryant mentality where he's like, I got to go win this game. And that's what worries me, is he's going to try to do that, and he's going to take Paul George out of the game. But I think Oklahoma City, they're starting to make a switch, and I think that's why Paul George, that was a big reason Paul George bought back into coming back to Oklahoma City, because I think he knew him and Westbrook could figure it out, and they're starting to figure it out. I think it's a perfect fit for him. I don't know if he could be better anywhere else.
Yeah, it's okay fit. You know, he could have fun, make it to the Western Conference Finals when he could be making it to the NBA Finals with another team. But we'll save that for another time. You said true that the Lakers will make the playoffs. I'm glad to see that because we know who's the best in the league. You said false that the Denver Nuggets will finish with the second seed in the Western Conference. Who do you believe will finish second? The Oklahoma City Thunder?
So I do like the Thunder to finish second. I kind of want to talk about talking about now the Lakers question as well.
Yeah.
But my outlook for the Western Conference, obviously I like the Warriors to get the first seed. I like the Thunder to get the second seed. And then after that, I think it's really close. I think the Jazz are going to climb up. I think the Rockets are going to have a great regular season record. I like the Rockets to get the third seed. I like the Jazz and the Nuggets to get the 4 and the 5. And then I actually like the Lakers to climb up and get the 6. I think that. Portland's going to start to fall off. I think Portland's going to have one of the more interesting off seasons out of any team here. I like Portland to finish 7, and I think they're going to lose first round again. Last year, again, they were the 3 seed. They got red hot at the end of the year and then got swept by the Pelicans in the first round. I believe they got swept.
Yeah.
They lost in 4.
Very rough.
And I think this year they're going to lose in the first round again, and then I think they're going to have to answer a lot of questions. This is a team that's not made a lot of changes over the years. And then what do you do with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum? So I think they could have an interesting offseason. I like them to finish 7. And at the 8 spot, that's the one where it's close. I really do want to see the Kings get in there just because of a cool story it would be. But that's kind of the way I see the West playing out.
Yeah, and over in the East, you said false that the Bucks will finish with the NBA's best record. You believe will be the Warriors probably?
I actually probably have the Raptors. I like the Raptors to get the 1 seed and finish with the best record in the Eastern Conference. I don't think the Warriors care about the record. I think they're going to have the West pretty much locked up, and they're going to rest a lot of guys. The East is going to be interesting, and I think the most interesting team to watch in the East is the Indiana Pacers. Because we've talked about those top 4 teams that are the front runners, the Bucks, the Raptors, the Sixers, and the Celtics.
Yeah.
Right now, those teams are 1, 2, 4, and 5. Which means 2 of those teams play. Right now it would be the Sixers and the Celtics would play in round 1. The Pacers would play Brooklyn, which means the Pacers have a good shot to move on, and one of those 4 teams has a chance to not get to the Final 4 of the East. So I think if the Pacers start to slip back to 4 or 5, then you're going to see the Raptors, Bucks, Sixers, and Celtics all move on to the second round.
Yep.
But if they could keep up with it, it'll be interesting. But I do like the Raptors to be the number 1 seed. I like the Bucks to be the 2. I think the Sixers will be the 3. And I like the Celtics to be the 4 and the Pacers to be the 5. So Celtics, the way I see them playing out, have a tough route facing Indiana round 1. It's always a tough place to play in the playoffs. And then if they win, they'd get Toronto, which I would much rather play Philly and Milwaukee than I would Toronto.
Interesting. And then saying in Eastern Conference, you said the Knicks will finish with the NBA's worst record. They're all for Zion, you'd say?
Yeah, I think they're looking for a guy that could, they've been the 76ers was always trust the process. That was their slogan. Theirs has been change the culture. They're trying to change the culture right now, and they've lost 17 in a row. I do think they're going all out for Zion, and then of course that big trade freed up 2 max spots.
It did.
I think their ideal situation is getting Zion, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant is their ideal, which obviously is an incredible solution. But Kyrie and Kevin Durant have always kind of been linked to New York, and they'd own that number 1 pick. It'd be interesting to see if they were to go and get those guys, if they would take kind of a Cleveland Cavaliers approach when they got LeBron and Kyrie, and they had the number 1 pick that year as well, and they traded it for Kevin Love.
You're right.
Which Timberwolves ended up using for Andrew Wiggins. But it'd be interesting to see if they take that approach or if they would think Zion could contribute to a championship contender.
I think he definitely could. I think he'd be a great fit for a fast tempo team with Kyrie throwing lobs to Zion. I think it'd be a great fit, and I like that. I like that idea that possibly they could trade for someone, but then you already got KD and Kyrie. Who are you gonna go get?
You got KD, Kyrie. The only person that would come to mind with that number 1 pick would be Anthony Davis, and making a trade in the offseason, which at that case, obviously it'd have to be more. Probably Kevin Knox would have to join the trade as well.
Yeah.
The number 1 pick, Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, their young center maybe. But it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. But obviously, KD, Kyrie, they have not answered really any questions about going to New York, so you can't bank on that.
And then you did say false that there will be no new All-Star on the Los Angeles Lakers roster next year. I don't agree with that one. I do believe there will be somebody. Maybe it's even Magic Johnson. I don't know. But somebody, an old All-Star, will be on the Lakers roster. Don't doubt that.
Yeah, this one's maybe a little bit biased. But, I mean, I'm looking at it. I think if Kyrie were to leave, I think he'd stay in the Eastern Conference and go to New York. Kawhi Leonard, you never know what he's going to do. He's a quiet guy. But I do think he'll end up staying in Toronto. Durant, I think, stays as well in Golden State. Klay Thompson, kind of like Kawhi Leonard, you don't know what he's going to do. So I think it's really between him and Anthony Davis. All these other All-Stars, I don't really see them leaving. Damian Lillard maybe could be a name. Like I say, if Portland fizzles out and loses round one again, that they could look to invest in. But as of right now, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I don't know exactly who's going to be. My top three would be Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, and Jimmy Butler. One of them will be a Laker next year.
To watch as well. Jimmy Butler could be a situation like Damian Lillard, where if they don't win it, he's going to want out of Philly and go to a place where he really can win in. LA would be a good option for him.
Yeah, and then Ben Simmons comes over, and the tampering rule worked.
It'd be worth the fine at that point.
I think so. I think they're taking care of the fine just well, and the Lakers are.
Well, we'll see what happens. Definitely something that's going to be issued to note on. I don't have them getting anyone. You have them getting everybody.
Of course.
So we'll see how that plays out. But those were great questions. That wraps up our first segment of the True-False game. Stay tuned. You heard a lot of talking from me. Now you're going to hear Trevor's answers and Trevor's responses to my questions coming up. Stay tuned. It's going to get good.